Source SQL and API options for the export type, what do they do? Good question. So the SQL export allows us to push data into another SQL database, and you can choose to add rows, create them, update them and delete them, or any combination of that. So that is quite useful. And we use that a lot for the integration actually back into the static data management module. So for example, if we had TIN validation errors, so we've got code components there to find the TIN errors, we could then write those into the static data manager and expose those to the business, so they could obviously work through those, and we could clear them off automatically when we see the fixes, say, come back into the warehouse from the source system. But we've also used the SQL export, or our clients have used it now. We've got a couple of clients who have their own internet banking solutions, and Bragi exports that a couple of times a day to their banking provider, so the data gets refreshed. So that's quite useful. The API one is something that's one of the recent additions. We've got a few trust fund admin type clients who have lots and lots of external parties that want to get access to their data. What you can do in Bragi now is you can stage out some data for a particular client and expose that to that client. There's a module there to control the permissions, and there's a little widget that gets installed into your DMZ or somewhere that's externally accessible, and they come into that. They have to authenticate, but they can pull down that data that Bragi has prepared for them, and they can do that in, you can expose it as Excel, as an API, so JSON feed, XML. It's pretty cool and solves a problem a few clients have had there on exposing data, which is neat.
Okay, right, new question. What if you had different environments that you wanted to export to, dev, prod, etc.? Great question. We didn't show it, just I suppose due to brevity, but built into Bragi is full environment management. So you can have as many different environments as you wish, within reason, because too many would be a bit silly, but certainly there's a very strong opinionation around the use of your dev environment to build out what you're trying to do. So to bring in new sources, to test data models, to test the load of stuff as you bring it in, and then as you build out those models and turn them into things that are useful, Bragi gives you the release mechanisms to then package up those changes, push them through your test, UAT, pre-prod, those sorts of environments, whatever suits your organisation and your approach to this stuff. And again, finally, before you then finally push that into your production environment, and there's permissioning around that. So we're doing things like, if you built the package, you can't necessarily release it, or you may have a release management team, and those are the ones that say run your release processes. And there's also additional safeguards and things built in to it. For instance, if you did release a package and it caused all sorts of problems, then there is rollback functionality built there so that you could unwind any changes that you've made. And I suppose a key component of this, and it's something we see all the time, is that often, if you're testing, say, loading data from file, how do you handle the fact that you may have dev, test, prod all trying to sort of read from the same location, connection strings and load sources and so things like that. Each of those are actually parameterized by environment. So you can, for instance, if you were loading a text file, for instance, or even writing a text file as part of one of your processes, then in your dev environment, you could specify, say, a local share, a UNC path, something like that. Whereas your prod environment, maybe that's reading from an SFTP location or an online service, or maybe it's writing to blob storage as opposed to writing to local storage, things like that.